Okay. So just to bring back, so you brought up Ole Miss and the SEC West. I just want to say that the biggest thing that we were excited about was the SEC West and how it was going to go. I just want to touch on it before we dipped.
Please.
And that the biggest issue that we had going forward with the SEC West is that there's a chance that it could only last 1 year, that this could be the only time it was going to be this interesting ever. And I hope that whoever's pulling the purse strings, or I hope everybody from administrators to the fans gives everybody a chance here, assuming that you aren't actually paying them, because this could be real fun. I just don't think it's going to be real fun this year. It's simply going to be interesting at best. I'm sorry. So if I was gonna slot them, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mizzou.
Oh man, it's tough for me with Mizzou and Tennessee because that offensive line for Tennessee is really, really good. It's really, really talented. But in the age of COVID, I don't know, dog. Like, I know Mizzou's not going to be their full assortment of dudes. Tennessee's not going to be their full assortment of dudes. Like, the rolling COVID is going to be one hell of an equalizer. So, like, we're talking about Arkansas having the toughest schedule on the face of the earth in the history of college football. What if Alabama loses, like, 17 dudes and, like, 11 of them are starters? You would like to think...
I think about that every day.
You would like to think that perhaps an Arkansas team would be able to compete, especially if they're at full strength and they know who they are. But if you're looking at Alabama's recruiting and you look at Arkansas's recruiting, ain't no way. So, like, these are the things that I want to see. I want to see that stuff plot out. So I'm inclined to say that Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou is going to get some things figured out because he won some recruiting battles he had no business winning this year, which is always a good start. But it's also Mizzou, and you fit in the SEC like West Virginia fits in the Big 12, like Nebraska fits in the Big 10. I'm going to go with Kentucky to finish third in there and probably go 6-4, right? And that's if you count the loss against Auburn. But if they beat Auburn, they're probably going to be back in the top 25 anyway because there are only 90 teams that are going to be eligible for votes next week. But it's an interesting dynamic. I think that it's going to be fun to find out which two teams from the SEC they put in the college football playoff.
That's why I'm really intrigued to see it go week to week, because right now, you talk about Tennessee could be very good, but looking what it looks like coming out of the casinos, it looks like, Will Muschamp can beat them in week one. And if that happens, and we're what, 6 days away from Saturday, right? So let's assume that nobody catches any COVID cases and there's no like real big roster upturn. If that happens, and then the rest of the season happens, and none of these kids are in a NBA style bubble, right? A whole bunch of people are having in-class classes. Even if you have your football team isolated and doing that remotely, they got the patience of, I'm not going to say all of them, but you can expect to have a few Lou Wills and Daniel Wells and all of that and knock out the right side of your offensive line, knock out your secondary, knock out your quarterback.
I'm very proud of you. 38 minutes in before we get to a basketball analogy.
I'm sorry. That's just...
You're not Gus Johnson, who waits 2 minutes to get to a basketball analogy in the Arkansas State, Kansas State game.
Oh, like my skin has been itching this entire time. I know that they're here for the football, but as it pertains to higher ed practices, all these schools are going to lose some kids. Not for the entire year, but at least for a good 10-day streak. Well, and if that happens, actually, not if that happens, when that happens.
And, that's also one of the things about this that could be fun and won't be, honestly, as much fun as people think it's going to be. I'm going to have fun, but that's because I know what it is. Like, I'm the dude just going, yeah, man, if they call it off in the middle of the season, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm going to be here to talk about it, but I wouldn't be shocked. All right. I need to add in there that South Carolina did jack Georgia for the hedges in a game where both teams were full strength and in a year where South Carolina lost more games than they won. So, like, South Carolina is entirely capable of just picking up a rock and hitting you from 60 feet away, and that's the knockout. Like, that's the game. Like, you might have a gun, and they just get lucky with that one and be like, can't shoot if you're unconscious. Like, that's how South Carolina's going to have to roll this year like they did last year.
But we know that they're not going to be that lucky for a solid 10 games straight.
No, but I'm just talking about
and we know that South Carolina is we know that South Carolina is bad in their conference. Like, they've been classically bad for 2 years playing against the teams that they play every year. I don't see there's going to be much difference other than the fact that now Will Muschamp is going to be shown, scoreboard dog. You need to get some wins against teams that have SEC in front of them. I'm not sure if he's going to do it.
Like Georgia?
But he probably could.
Like Georgia?
That's y'all one.
I'm saying, though, like, that would be my...
Rocky Marciano.
Look.
That's y'all one.
If I'm Matt Campbell, anytime somebody wants to talk noise to me about Louisiana Lafayette and losing, I'll be like, 2017, Oklahoma, what's good? Every single time. We beat a team that played in the college football playoff. Every single time I would bring it up. I would wear it like dudes wear their national title ring. It would just be there the whole time. Being like, see, I'm sorry, what? I can't hear you. Yo, man, the 2010-11 Lakers championship is the worst NBA title of all time. Do you have a title, Charles Barkley? That's what I thought. Like, permanent trump card forever. Amen. All right, so there are only like 2 games that I really want to talk about from the Big 12 because everybody else has embarrassed me.
Oh, yeah. So as you asked me, I'm going to throw it back at you. Is the Big 12 dead? Are they dead? Is this it's just not a year?
Yo, man, I told everybody to break up the Big 12 and advocate the throne on national radio on Saturday night. I'm not here for this conference. Matter of fact, I had this thought. Like, how many members in a conference is enough? 10, 14, 20? Even knowing that there are 129 teams and we respect like 5 conferences, and the Big 12 can learn a thing or two from those 5 conferences that we respect. Because this conference isn't a conference. It's Oklahoma and Texas.
Oh, my goodness, is it?
It's Texas, though, because they make the most money. It's Oklahoma because they win the most games. And then when we talk about Oklahoma State being number 11, and this is how watered down college football is this year, they slide to 15 with a 16-7 win against the Tulsa team. I would not trust to beat meat, as in a steak, with a tenderizer. So, yes, the Big 12 is dead. And the Big 12 remains dead until the Big 12 wins a college football playoff semifinal. And seeing as Oklahoma's the only one that can make that qualification, Oklahoma needs to be independent or go to the SEC. That's what I would do.
I was going to say, if you consider the Big 12 to be, if you also are just, you refuse to not include Oklahoma into the Big 12, like, absolutely, they're Big 12. All right, sure, cool. They run the table because the bottom half of this conference is really bad. I have no faith in Texas. I have them beating the rest of the conference. Iowa State made me look like a fool because I said on record, Iowa State, they're gonna be pretty good. They're built to beat Oklahoma. They still might be, but they're not built to beat anybody else. So Oklahoma runs the table, makes it to the Big 12 championship, shows up in first round playoffs, gets bounced. Great.
Rinse, repeat.